And yeah, so how's everyone today? So put a reaction in chat or just put a reaction in general. All right, so today we'll be doing math. Last week was English. Since I did say last week before we left, if you guys had any questions, I would be glad to answer them. So for the problems that we didn't do last class, does anyone have any questions that they wanted answered about why it's a certain answer? So raise your hand and put it in the chat if you have a question from last class. All right, no questions. Okay, so today, so first thing we'll be doing is ratios, rates, and proportions. So what are ratios, rates, and proportions? A ratio is a comparison of two quantities. The ratio of A to B can be expressed as A colon B or A slash B. So we're gonna start doing ACT math next class. We're replacing English and English and writing with it, since we've gone over, I guess, the general portion of English and writing. However, if you guys do have questions about it, you can still ask. But we will be starting ACT science and ACT math next class onwards. So we'll be doing SAT math 1 week and ACT math plus ACT science the other week. So an example of a ratio. So say Pepper has 3 hats and 3 scarves. The ratio of hats to scarves is 3:2, or 3:2, or 3/2. A proportion is an equality of 2 ratios. We write proportions to help us find equivalent ratios and solve for unknown quantities. So for example, say you have like a recipe that asks for 3 cups of flour for every cup of water, but we want to use 6 cups of flours. To find out how much water we want to use, we would set up a proportion. 3 cups of flours over 1 cup of water is equivalent to 6 cups of flours over an X amount of water. Then we would solve the equation for X to find the number of cups of water to use. In this case, that would be 2. A rate is a quotient of a ratio where the quantities have different units. So for example, you have a swallow, which is a bird, flies 45 meters in 3 seconds. If we wanted to find the rate at which the swallow is flying, we could set up the ratio of meters to seconds. So you have 45 meters for every 3 seconds. And if you find the quotient, which is basically what you get after doing the division, you get 15 meters per second. So here's like 3 pretty easy practice problems for you guys to do. I'll give you guys a minute to do these, and then I'll do these myself. Or actually, I'll give you guys 2 minutes since there is 3 problems versus just 1. Oops. Of course, just put your answers in the chat so I know if you guys got it right or wrong. I'll give you guys another minute to do this, and then I will explain what the answer is and why. Another 30 seconds. All right, so the simplest way to solve this is to think of each of these, I guess, ratios as a portion. So you have two portions as equals to 28, and you have 5 portions equals to x. So since you know that 2 portions are equal to 28, you could say that 1 portion is equal to 14 because you could just divide both these by 2. And then you multiply that 1 portion by 5 to get the 5 portions right here. And that's how you get x. So you do 14 times 5. 14 times 5, and you should get 70 as your answer. 14 times 5. Any questions about why it's 70 and not 60? Because I saw some people put their answer as 60. All right, no questions about that one. All right. So next one. Again, these are portions. So you have 4 portions is you have 4 portions of sunflowers and 5 portions of marigolds. So you know that there's 9 portions overall. And because of that, you know, since there's 45 flowers, you just divide this by 9 because you know that there's 9 different portions of it. So if you do that, you get 5 as 1 portion equals to 1 portion. And because you want to find the number of sunflowers, you have to multiply that by 4 because the portion, there's 4 portions of sunflowers. So you get the answer is 20 for this one. So this one's 70, this one's 20, and then the final one would be, just erase all this. So, and then for the final question, you know, there's 5 red beads, and 5 red beads is 1 portion. So, you know, each portion is 5 beads, and you need to find the number of blue beads, of which there's 3 portions. So you know that there's 3 portions of blue beads, and each portion is worth 5. So there must be 15 blue beads because 5 times 3 is 15. And that is why our answer here would be 15. Do you guys have any questions? No? All right. So what are percentages? A percentage is a ratio out of 100. I don't know why that came out 3 times. So for number 2, someone asked me to do number 2 again. So number 2, you know that there's 4 portions for sunflowers and 5 portions for marigolds. So in total, there's going to be 9 portions overall because it's just 4 plus 5 of flowers. And you know there's 45 flowers. You would divide that by 9 because you want 9 different portions, right? So you'd get 5 as 1 portion. And because there's 4 portions of sunflowers, you do 5 times 4 to get 20. That is 20 sunflowers. Sai, do you understand why it's 20? Just like say yes or yeah. Anyways, back to percentages. So percentage is a ratio out of 100. I did not mean to write 100, 100, 100 3 times. Just fix that on the slides. Right. And then escape there. So a percentage is a ratio out of 100 that represents a part to whole relationship. Percent means parts per 100. So to calculate a percent value, there's 2 values that are important to finding the percentage, a part and a whole. And to calculate the percentage, you use the formula percentage equals to part over whole times 100. So for example, say you took a quiz in math class and got 21 out of 24 questions right. You would calculate the percentage of questions you got right as follows. So you have the part as 21 and the whole as 24. So 21 over 24 is 0.875, and you multiply that by 100 to get 87.5 as your, I guess, percentage. So if you have any two part, say you have like any two of the parts, the whole, the percentage, or the part, then you could just solve for the missing value by following this formula and using algebra. So translating percentages to word problems. You'll see percentages referenced in word problems pretty frequently in the SAT. And there's like an easy way to translate these word problems into arithmetic. So the word what means X, which is like whatever you're missing. The word is means equals to. The word of means multiplied by. And the word percentage means divided by 100. So for example, 36 is what percent of 60? So you put 36 as your number. You have the word is right here, and that directly is equivalent. You have the word is right here. That's equivalent to the equal signs. What means X? So right here. Percent means divided by 100 right here. And of 60 means multiplied by 60 right here. So here are some practice problems. I'll give you guys a minute to do this one, and then we'll go on to the second one after. Of course, this one is a bit more tricky than the simple one I gave before. And there are other ways of doing this, of which I will explain one of them. Just put your answer in the chat after you guys finish solving it, so I know if you guys got it right or wrong. All right, another 30 seconds, just waiting for people to finish up. All right, so for this question, the easiest way of doing this, and probably, I guess, maybe not the fastest, but the easiest way of doing this is to have two numbers. So you can substitute numbers into B and K. So say you have 100 bricks overall, and 25 of them have been stacked. So there's like 75%, 75 remaining, or also 75% remaining. And you can just plug in these numbers. So you have B equals to 100 and K equals to 25. So when you plug in the numbers for each of these, so you have 100 over 100 times 100 minus 25. That is, I believe, 100 over 75,000. Yeah, 75,000. That is not equal to 75. So A would be crossed out immediately. 100 times 100 minus 75, I mean minus 25 over 100, which is 7500 over 100, which is 75. So our answer would be B immediately. Do you guys want me to go over want me to go over C and D? Do you guys want me to go over C and D? All right, so C, you plug in 100 times 100, which is 10,000. Oh, yes, the numbers B and K can be any number. And the value of B and K can be any number. However, I would recommend doing 125 because it's like easiest. There's just like simple values to do. So 100 times 100 is 10,000 over 25, which is, I believe, like what, 400%, 400, which is also just percentage. It's a point. It's something like that. It's like 4.0 or something. So you have 400. That's not 75. Then 100 times 25 over 100 is 250. 2,500 over 100, which is equal to 25, and that's not 75 either. Therefore, B is our answer. Do you guys have any questions? No questions? All right. Clear this. All right. Here's another practice problem. I'll give you guys a minute to do this one as well. I don't know why my video is cutting out. Sorry about that. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds. Just like put your answer in the chat after you get it, and I can tell you if you guys got it right or wrong. All right, it seems like most of you got it right, and I'll explain for the people who got it wrong. So you have 30% off 100, which is 70, because 30% of 100 is 30, and just subtract 100 minus 30. So you have 70 first, and then 20% of 70 is 14. You just divide 70 by 5, and you get 14. And when you subtract 70 minus 14, you get $56 as your answer. Do you guys have any questions? No? All right. All right. So the first step. So you want 30% off of 100. So 30% of 100 is 30. So you got 70 as your I guess your original the sale price, because it was originally 100, you have it off 30 already. So you have 70 here, and then you get 20% more of, you get 20% of 70 off. So you have 70 minus whatever this is. So I'll just call this X. So you get 70 minus X. So 20% of 70 is 14, because just like 20 is 20 divided by 100 is 1/5. When you 14 over 70 is 1/5. So basically 20 is a 1/5 of 100 and 17 is 1/5 of 14 is 1/5 of 70. Or you could just divide by 5 on both sides. It doesn't matter. So you have 14 as your x. So you have 70 minus 14. So you get 56. Did the people who didn't understand before get it now? Sai and Shruti, do you guys get it? Why it's minus 14 and why the answer is 56? Sai? All right. So what is unit conversion? So we use units, inches, centimeters, miles, etc., to measure quantities like time, mass, and distance. But we can use a variety of units to measure the same thing. So an easy way to find the percentage of something. So say you want 20% of something. So you have what? You want 20% of 50. And since you know that 20 is 1/5 of 100, because 20 times 5 is 100, you can multiply your whatever values over here by 0.1/5. And that is the percentage of it. That is 20% of 50. Or if you say you get an easier way of explaining this, 20/100. So you multiply whatever you have over here by 20/100. Say if you want 30% of 100, you would multiply 50. You want 30% of 50. You'd multiply 50 by 30/100. And just like that, for any percentage value, 45%, you'd multiply 50 by 45/100. And it's just like that. Of course, if you have say you need 89% of it, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a calculator for that. So you don't need to manually calculate out what 89% of something is. But if it's like a simple value like 20% or 50%, then you're gonna have to do it by hand. And even then it's pretty easy. Siddhartha, do you understand? All right. So what is unit conversions? As I said before, we use units, inches, centimeters, miles, etc., to measure quantities like time, mass, distance. But we can use a variety of units to measure the same thing. For example, inches, centimeters, and miles are all measures of distance. Unit conversion lets us change the units in which a measurement is given. So in the SAT, the relationships between units will be provided to you in the form of equivalency. So like after a question, it could say 1 foot equals to 12 inches to provide you like a ratio. It is useful to think of this equivalency as a ratio. For example, 1 foot is 12 inches or 1 foot over 12 inches. Then you'll multiply the initial measurement by that ratio to convert from one unit to another. For example, to convert 2,000 grams to kilograms, you have 2,000 grams times 1 kilogram over 1,000 grams, and you'll get 2 kilograms because you're multiplying 2,000 by 1/1,000, and the grams cancel out. Any questions? None? All right. I'll give you guys a minute to do this one. Of course, for this problem, if you don't know the formula for the volume of a rectangular prism, the SAT does provide it at the beginning of the section. So the formula would be volume equals to length times width times height. And if you do somehow forget it, the SAT does provide this in the first page of the math section. In both sections, about the calculator and non-calculator. And of course, like always, just put your answer in the chat so I can tell if you guys got it right or wrong. Here's the link to today's slides. 1 second for the people who are asking. It should be today's slides. All right, now 30 seconds for the people who are still solving it. Right, so I see multiple different answers. Around, I guess, 60% of you got that right, this question, right? So first thing we can do is, so you know the formula for the formula for the volume of a rectangular prism is length times width times height. So you're given a 100, which is, I guess, doesn't really matter which is length or width or height, times 80 times 5, which is 80 times 100 is 8,000 times 5, which is 40,000. And so that is your original, I guess, that's your volume. And we want the mass of the marble slab in grams. And you know that it's the ratio is 2.6 grams for 1 cubic centimeter, cm, which is what they gave us. It's cubic cm, because this is cm times cm times cm. So you cube that. So then we multiply 40,000 times 2.6 over 1. Also, it's cm cubed, and grams equals 2. So these two cancel out immediately. And then you multiply 2.6 times 40,000, and you get 104K, I believe, grams. So the answer is D. Do you guys understand why, or do you need me to explain it again? No? All right. Next question. I'll give you guys a minute to do this one. Of course, just put your answer in the chat after you get it. So I believe this is a calculator question, although it can be solved in on paper, I guess. again, after you guys figure it out, just put it in the chat. So I know if you guys got it right or wrong. All right, do you guys want me to explain it since no one's put their answer in the chat about how to get this? Or do you guys need more time? All right. Tell me when you guys finish and I will do it then. For the people who are asking me to explain it, I will explain it after the people who ask for more time finish. And I did see one of you got the right answer. However, I also saw multiple people got the wrong answer. All right. Do you guys still need more time, or can I explain it for the people who asked for more time and haven't put their answer in the chat? All right, since there's no response, I will just do this. So you're given that you want to finish, so you want to run a distance of 10 whatever furlongs is, furlongs in 2 minutes. So you have 10 over 2 right there, minutes. And you want it in miles per hour. So you multiply by 60 minutes in an hour, 1 hour. And you also want it in miles instead of furlongs. So you have 1 mile over 8 furlongs. So now you start canceling stuff out. The minutes go away. Furlongs go away. So you have miles over hour now. So you do 10 over 2, which is 5, times, I believe, 60, times 1/8, which should come out to you have 300 times 1/8, which is like what, 37.5. Oh no, 37 something times 300 divided by 8. 3, yeah, 37.5 is the answer. Let me just double check with my answer down here. Yep, it's 37.5. So do you guys understand why it's 37.5 and not I saw 0.8 a couple of times, 1.3, 1, 1.25? Or do you guys have a question why it is 37.5 and not whatever you guys got? So put in the chat if you understand, or should I explain it again? All right, no questions then? All right. So we're just moving on to practice problems then. Or do you guys have any questions? So the order of ratios does not matter. Like I could do one, I believe, yeah, 1 mile over 8 furlongs. I'm just gonna do 1 mi times 8 furlongs over times 60 min mil over 1 hour h times I believe what one no 10 over 10 f over 2m min. It does not matter what order I put these in, it still equals the same thing. Minutes cancel out, furlongs cancel out. You have miles over hour. You get 1/8 times 60 times 5, which is still 37.5. So there's no real order for the ratios. Is that your question, or did I misunderstand it? All right. So any questions over what I just went over? No? All right. Practice problems. I'll give you guys a minute and a half to do this one. Yeah, again, just put your answer in the chat afterwards so I could tell if people got this right or wrong. All right, seems like most of you got the answer. So for the people who still haven't answered, so for this one, I'm just gonna draw a small visual because even though it's not really needed, so you're going the same distance. You need to go 630 miles, mil, and you have car A, car B. Car B is going at 90 miles, car A is going at 70, and they need to go there. So we're asking how long does car B take to arrive at the destination? You do 630 over 90 to figure out how long it takes to go from here to here, and that would be 7. Then you multiply 7 by 70 to get 490 because that's how far a car A would have gone in 7 hours. 7 hours, and you go 490 miles. So the answer is 490. Do you guys understand why, or is there something you guys are doubtful of? Right? No questions? Next problem. I'll give you guys a minute and a half to do this one. Okay, so the other problem, so you have a line, you have car A, car B, they have to go up to 360 miles, and car B is going at 90 miles, car A is going at 70, and we want to find out how far car A goes when car B reaches the destination. So car B would take 630 over 90 miles. It would take 7 hours to reach the destination. And in those 7 hours, car A, which drives at 70 miles per hour, 70 times 7, would drive 490 miles. And therefore the answer is 490. Kowser, do you understand? All right, back to the other question. I'll give you guys a minute to do this one. I guess, yeah, because it does require you to multiply some numbers, which, I mean, not really. I mean, you couldn't, I'm not entirely sure if this would be a calculator question because you could do the math. It's like on paper, but I could see this potentially being a calculator question. I'm not sure. I could do, I would do this without a calculator. However, this might be a calculator question. I just don't know. Of course, just like put your answer in the chat after you guys get whatever you guys get, so I know if people got it right or wrong. Give you guys another 30 seconds. All right, so I see two answers. I guess like around 70% of you got this one right, and 30% of you didn't, or at least for the people who told me what they got. So easiest way of looking at this, since the ratios are equal, so you have A over B, the heights of each buildings are, I guess, equivalent. The ratios of the heights of each buildings. A over B is equivalent to C over D, at least for the heights. And you know that A is 140 and B is 85 and C is 90 and D is what we were trying to find. So you multiply, you just do, I guess, algebra from there. So you would have, you'd multiply both sides by x times, and also multiply both sides by 85 times 85 to get rid of this and this. So you would have 85x times 140, or no, what am I saying, 85x? It's just x times 140, because this and this cancel out. Same with here, this and this cancel out, equals to 90 times 85. So you had 140x equals to 90 over 90 times 85, whoops. Right, 90 times 85. So 0, 45, 0, what is that? 8 times 9, so 72, 76. So 7650. So you have 140x equal to 7650. And then you divide 140 on both sides. So 7650, 140. You do what? 5 here. So 5, so you have 760. And then I did something wrong. What's that? 5, and then 160, no, 200, so 700 right here. So you'd have 650 left. Then you do multiply by 4 point something. So I'm just gonna say multiply by 4. So you have 4 times that, so 400. So 560, and then you have 90 left. So that means point blah blah blah, and probably greater than 5. So to the nearest foot, that's 55. You have 45, 54 point something that's greater than 0.5. You'd have your answer as D. Does anyone have any questions? No? All right. I'll give you guys around 2 minutes to do this one. Again, just put your answers in the chat so I can tell if you guys got it right. All right, I'm seeing multiple different answers. Around maybe 60% of you have this right. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds to do it. All right, 10 seconds for anyone else who wants to put their answer in the chat. All right, so for this question, you're given, I guess, two ratios. So you have 1 mile is, no, wait, what am I doing backwards? 5280 feet for 1 mile. And you're traveling 2 miles in a straight direction, so 2 mile. So cost these out. So you have 2 times 5,280. So that is 10,560. And then you're also given the ratio 1 rotation for every 9.42 feet. It's 10,650 feet times that. And this is a calculator question for sure. There's no way they expect you to answer this with just pen and paper. So, and when you do that, you cross out the feet here first. It equals roughly like 1,121, I believe, is what I wrote. Let me just check what I wrote. Yeah, it's 1,121. So do the people who didn't get 1,121 understand why it's 1,121 and not some of the other answers that you guys got? Or if you guys have a specific question, just like raise your hand so I can unmute you or put your question in the chat. No questions? All right. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to do this one. Again, just put your answer in the chat after you get it. Wait another 30 seconds. All right, so do you guys want me to do this since all of the people who did answer in the chat got it right? Do you guys want me to go through this and show you how I do it, or do you guys just want to move on to the next question? All right, some people asked me to show it, so I'll quickly go through this. So what we want is people who get from either the newspaper or the radio. So 15% get it from the newspapers, so I'll just put N, and 11% get it from radio. So you add these percentages together to get 26% of people who get the news from either the newspaper or the radio. And 26%, which is basically 0.26 times 1,800 is 468. So the answer is C. For the people who asked me to show it, do you guys understand why it's C and not one of the other answer choices? All right. Okay, for the people who are asking to do it again. So either newspapers or radio. So we want the percentage of newspapers plus percentage of radio. So that's 26%, which is basically just 0.26, because remember, percentage is a number times 100. And you want 0.26 times 1,800, because that's the total number of people who responded. So 0.26 times 1,800 is 468, which is done using a calculator. There's no way you're like required to do this through pen and paper. So the answer is C. Kowser, do you understand why it's C now? Or all right, next question. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to do this one. A minute should be enough for this one. Another 30 seconds. Again, just put your answer in the chat after you get it. All right, I saw some of you get this wrong, so I will go through this problem. So you need the percentage that she has not read, which is 5%, because 100 minus 95 is 5%. And you can set 5% equal to part, which is the percent that she has not read, over 100. I mean 160, because that's the total number of books, times 100. This is the formula that I was talking about in the first couple of slides, I believe. And from here, it's just algebra. So first thing you do is you divide by 100 on both sides. You get 0.05 equals to part over 160. Then you multiply by 160 on both sides to get 8, I believe. 5% of 160 is 8 equals to part. And so therefore the answer is C. Did the people who got it wrong understand why it's not whatever you guys got? And why the answer is 8? All right. Anyone else have a question? No? All right. I'll give you guys a minute to do this one. And then the next one, I have a challenge question that I just found coming up in like two more after the ones I already put in are finished. So if the problems we have done so far are pretty easy, I found a harder one for us to do. But until then, yeah, just like finish this question and one more question, and then we'll do that. I'll give you guys a minute to do this one. Another 30 seconds. All right. So it seems like all of you got this right. Does anyone want me to show you how I do it, or should we just move on to the next one? All right. So for this one, so you're given $7 as your particular price. All right. And the same price increased to $10 later. So for a percentage increase, you do the amount that it became minus what it originally was, which is $3. Then you do $3 over 7 because that's how much it increased by, which is around, I believe, like 43%. 43, it's like 0.43, which times 100 is 43% times 100. Any questions for the people who asked me to show it? I guess like an easier way of showing this would be, so your price after increase minus your original price, A, is C. And then you do C over A, the price that it increased by over your original price to get your percentage increase, which is D. If I know what B minus A equals to C, and then C over A equals to D. So it's 3 over 7 because you want the price that increased by over original price, OG price, to get the percent it increased by, the percent increase of the price. Sai, do you understand why it's 3 over 7 now? All right. Next question. Then we'll do this one, and then I found one online that should be a good, I guess, problem after this. I'll give you guys a minute to do this one. And again, just put your answer in the chat after you finish. Another 30 seconds. All right, so it looks like all of you got this right. Do you guys want me to explain how I do it, or should we just move on to the question I found online? So do you guys want me to show you how I did this or just move on? All right. So for this one, you're given one ratio, which is 18 cm over one pen. And you need to know what 6 pencils is in centimeters. So you do six pen times 18 cm over one pen. The pencils cancel out. So 6 times 18 over 1, which is just 6 times 18, which 18 times 6 is what? 48. 108 is your answer. Do you guys understand why it's 108 now, or no? All right. Next question. I will copy paste it over 1 second. So 1.67 is I believe 2 to 1 here. I don't know why it did all this. Charges $58. $50 per gallon for that, and $40 for this. Does 1.67. All right. Oops. That's 6, 7. Solve this question. I'll give you guys 3 minutes for this one because it looks harder, and it is harder than the ones we did before. Again, just put your answers in the chat after you get it, so I could tell if you guys got it right or wrong. And of course, you guys need more time after 3 minutes, just tell me that so I don't start explaining it while you're still doing it. Again, most of the questions in the SAT won't be of this difficulty level. They'll probably be easier. However, this is, I guess, a possible question on the SAT. And yeah, there are questions that will be like this on the SAT. So again, just like put your answer in the chat after you get this. Yeah, this would be in the calculator section for sure. There's no way to, well, there's ways of doing this, but it just take far too long. And there's a lot of room for error. Right. If you guys get your answers, just put in the chat. I will say everyone who's put their answer in the chat so far has got it wrong. Again, this is a difficult one, so it is okay if you get this wrong, and I will explain what the actual answer is in a minute. Again, this is a calculator question as well. You are allowed to use your calculator. And if you aren't, then you're probably doing something wrong because some of these, I guess, numbers require you to do it, require you to have a calculator out. All right, do you guys want me to do it right now? Because everyone who's done it so far has got it wrong. Oh, well, other than one person. I changed my statement. One person just got it right. But do you guys want more time to figure out what the answer is, or do you guys want me to do it? All right. You guys can have more time. Just tell me after you finish, or just put your answer in the chat so I know you guys are done. However, on the SAT, if you are taking more than like 2 to 3 minutes on this problem, I would say skip it and do the other problems first, and then come back to this one with any extra time. Because if you don't immediately understand how to do it, this is going to take some time. Just like wrapping your head around how to do it. So yeah, I would recommend skipping this one and going on to the next ones if you don't have time. All right. Do you guys still need more time, or should I solve this? Also, again, only one person out of everyone who's put it in the chat, put their answers in the chat, has got this right. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna start solving it. Just like tell me right now if you want me to wait like an extra minute or whatnot. All right, no one. All right. So you're given the ratio that you have 2 gallons of weed killer for every gallon of for 1 gal of gal of glyphosate. I don't know how to glyphosate. I don't know. State. You don't need to know the name of that. Is equal to 1.67 gals of weed killer overall. Weed killer over an unknown amount of glyphosate phosphate. So when you solve this equation for G, you get G is equal to, this basically just becomes 1. So you have G, I'm gonna do this right here. G is equal to 1.67 over 2, which is weed killer over weed killer. These are all weed killers. Weed killer times 1 gal of, I'm gonna just say GLYP because I'm not writing that out again. And when you do all the math and you plug it into a calculator, this and this cancel out. So you get G equals to 0.835 gallons of GLYPH. So this means that there's 0.835 gals in 1.6 overall. So you do 1.67 minus 0.835 to get the amount of other ingredients in there, which is, I believe, 0.835. Oh, I'm looking at my calculator. If you guys see me looking down, because I did this on my calculator right there. 0.835 gals of other ingredients, a gal of other stuff, other. So now you have two variables. You have GLYPH is 0.835 of gals, and you have other is 0.835. Yeah, so you have equal amounts, all right? And then you know that the manufacturer charges 58.00 per gallon of GLYPH. So you do that times 0.835. And the manufacturer also charges $40 for the other stuff, so it's also times 0.835. And when you do that, you get 48.43 for GLYPH, and other is 33.40. And then when you add 48.843 plus 33.40, you get 81.83, which is around $82, because it's asking rounded to the nearest dollar. So your answer is 82. So I use the TI-84. It's just a normal TI-84. Again, there's multiple different calculators you can use. Just go online and search up what calculators can you use for the SAT. But yeah, the answer to this one is 82. Do you guys have any questions why? Of course, this one does require a lot of calculations. I added the 33 point, where's the 33.43? 38.43, where's that? 33.48. I added that because that's the cost of the other. That's like 0.835 times $40, and that's the cost of the other that the manufacturer charges. And then you add them both because you want the total amount for the weed killer. Do you understand why I had 33.40? All right, does anyone have any questions about why it's 82? This one was a harder one. It did require a lot more calculations. However, it just uses simple basic, I guess. It's just the same base that you would for other stuff. You're following the same order and everything is just longer, I guess. All right. Since we did finish this one pretty fast, I guess that's really it for this class. Just search up information about the ACT for next class, since we're going to start the ACT science section and just some general ACT math. Otherwise, that's really it for today. You guys are free to go. No, I will say this right now. This is probably in the top 1% of problems. I do not expect this to be generally this hard. If it was, I wouldn't have done well either, simply because of the time issues that it would take for each of these. But yeah, do you guys have any questions that like any outside problems that you guys struggled on or whatnot that you guys want help with for the people who are still here? I'm not sure what map is, but congrats on finishing the ACT already, Satya. Other than that, do you guys have any questions? Anything that you guys want me to do, answer? If not, I guess have a nice day. Right, no questions. I will end today's class. So recordings for past classes, currently we are slacking, unfortunately, on putting all the recordings into the website, but I'll ask Mr. Srinivas to get that set up. I'll give you guys the link for it right now. One sec. This is the link for the classes. However, we did slack on it a bit, so we're behind by a couple of classes, but we'll try to get that in this week. If that's it, goodbye for this week. See you guys next week.